What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm here today to talk about The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 1, Spring Awakening. So be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's jump right into it. So this episode begins with Karen and Gizelle, the dynamic duo, not really a dynamic duo, but like those two frenemy forces, the two real anchors of the show. They're hanging out and they're sitting up for a little picnic beneath the cherry blossom trees, and we can see like the Washington Monument, like in the background, like they're in like DC. And they're just chilling, sitting blankets down and shit, and they're speaking on Ashley finally divorcing Michael Darby. So like, oh my gosh, like finally, it's coming, she's setting her foot down. Robyn and Ashley come through as well, and while they're all catching up, they wind up discussing Mia's social media posts. So Mia made one post, and this was fairly recently after the reunion happened. So, shortly after the reunion, we heard that Ashley was allegedly at the time leaving Michael, and that Mia made these posts. So she made one Instagram post about having to go to the Johns Hopkins Cancer Center. She said she needed a further evaluation following tests, and that was it. So people were kind of unsure at the time. I recall they're like, does Mia have? Obviously, it was like she's saying that she had to go undergo more evaluation. She was kind of it was a medical scare, and it was kind of definitely a prayers up kind of moment. She eventually made a second post where she kind of updated her followers and kind of thanked people for all the support they were giving her and all that shit. She also said she was okay. She said that so far the doctors found no cancer, but she said she was still being tested and she was getting a biopsy to remove 2 lumps. So she shared that on social media. And so girls are kind of just dissecting that a bit. Robyn in particular, she's the one who's leading this right now. And by the way, Robyn, she has a totally new hair color right now. It looks pretty good on her. Charrisse comments on that as well. She's like, oh, this looks good on you. She's not blonde anymore right now. She's giving some more Poison Ivy kind of vibes, like that super villain. Anyways, Robyn says she thinks it's attention seeking in particular. She said she thinks Mia's seeking attention with these posts. She said that you don't put the big C word out there unless you're sure. And Gizelle and Ashley, they feel similarly. They're both kind of yeah. Ashley in particular, right after Robyn says, I think it's attention seeking, Ashley says, yep, I agree. Gizelle, she says, I'm not sure. I feel like she's I don't really know. And she points out that Mia's been a bit of a liar in the past. She's lied about her age. She's lied about shit that Gizelle said. And just Mia's just kind of she's a non-credible source, essentially, according to Gizelle. Karen, she's giving Mia the benefit of the doubt. Although she does agree that, I personally would have approached the matter differently. And I think that she handled it in a way different than most. But I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? So Karen's the only one there who's kind of giving Mia some kind of leeway, kind of being well, let's let her explain herself. All the others, they're like, oh no, something's fishy. She's doing it for attention. So, I don't know. It's because I kind of thought about Robyn's point, and it's yeah, I don't know if posting, oh, I have it's, I don't know. But again, you know what I mean? It's just because I would have done something that way doesn't mean I should hold others to. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be more conscientious of that, but it's also I don't know. What do you think? I'm not defending the speculation against me, and not that at all. But I'm just kind of saying their observation, what they're, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that Mia was doing it for attention or anything, but I don't know. Mia eventually kind of explains it a bit more, just kind of fast forwarding to later on. She says that she did it because she decided to use her platform because, she was going through a tough time. She was going through it, and she, obviously it's not a diagnosis, but it's oh, we need more examination. It's not it wasn't an, oh, everything's all good. You know what I mean? So it was a big deal for her and her family to deal with, and she decided to be transparent, use her platform, basically. So, I don't know. But anyways, let's just keep going. There's a quick segue to discussing the split between Ashley and Michael. So basically go from talking about Mia to Ashley. And yeah, Ashley says that there's basically not really compatible anymore. She said that she's stopped drinking, and she wants to stop having threesomes, but he basically still wants to do it. She tells a story about, I don't know where they were. They were basically out, and this woman was kind of interested in Ashley, and Michael kind of wanted to pursue it, but Ashley was like, no, I'm not about that shit anymore. So basically, like, just the difference of, like, interest at this point, you know, that their lives are changing. Ashley's a mother of 2 now. She kind of doesn't want to do that. She doesn't want to do that shit anymore. And yes, it's linked to all this, shit, and, Ashley does, and at this point, Ashley does confirm, she's like, yeah, it's true, we're divorcing, so she does say that, and that'll come up later on, but, yeah, Ashley says that, despite the split, though, she and Michael are still buying a home. Though they're buying it, they're gonna put it in the name of an LLC that they own together, so, like, their individual names won't be on the house together, but, like, a business entity that they both own, and she doesn't mention if, I don't know if it's, like, a 50-50 ownership kind of thing, or if it's, like, even a 51-49, like, I don't know the, you know. Ladies are hella confused because, Gizelle's been divorced from Jamal, obviously. Karen, I believe she was married to Brandon's father, because, her son Brandon has a different father, it's not Ray. So I don't know if she was married to him. I think she was married to his father. And Robyn obviously divorced Juan. So they've all been divorced before, so they're all like, girl, like, if you're divorcing him, why the fuck would you buy a house, like, together with him? You know what I mean? They're like, girl, I would never have done that. Because they're all basically like, girl, I've been in your situation, I cannot imagine doing that shit. What the fuck? So they're all hella confused, to be honest. And I don't blame them. Eventually, Gizelle, she says, like, okay, like, Robyn and Juan, you know, because they're cohabitating, they've been doing that for years, but they're divorced and they haven't gotten remarried yet or anything. Robyn's name is the only one on that house, according to Gizelle. His name isn't on the house, and so Robyn basically said, like, for the longest time, she was like, no, I'm not gonna buy a house with him, like, we're not married, like, why the fuck would I do that? So, like, they have direct experience with, like, what Ashley's going through, essentially, so, like, girl, what, how, like, so I kind of get it, to be honest. That doesn't really, it's like, but hey, you know, maybe it's kind of situation like how Heather Gay on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has. You know, it's like where her ex-husband still completely funds her lifestyle and everything. But I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Michael's out there to share his side of the story or whatever. But yeah, ladies are just really confused, and that's the general takeaway. Ashley goes on to say that she thinks that the split will be amicable because it happened over time. It was like an overnight kind of thing. But Karen warns her, be ready. I mean, you never know how shit's gonna go. Divorce is rough. And at this point, Karen introduces us to a spring into spring party. She's like, it's springtime, the flowers are here, let's have a party, a spring into spring party. The ladies aren't impressed, but like, sure, girl, we'll go to your fucking party. We then check in with Candiace, and she's at the doctor's office, and she's looking into freezing her eggs. And she said, you know, she's not really at a point where she can, like, settle down and have kids, because she's prepping for the re-release of Deep Space. And she's on the heels of her first tour. She opened for SWV and Faith Evans. She's like, no, I can't stop right now, but she's like, girl, I don't want to have, like, 2 eggs left. I'm ready to have a baby. So she decided to go in the process of freezing them. The doctor's walking Candiace and Chris, because he's with her at the appointment. She's walking through the process. They have to do, like, IVF shots and shit. And it has to be consistent, she says. And she's like, you know, you have to be able to commit to, like, you can't really reschedule appointments and shit, like, when you're going through this. Like, it has to be, like, you know what I mean? Precise. And Candiace goes on to kind of call Chris. She's like, well, you can't really do that with your schedule right now. Because he's working as the general manager at some restaurant in the Washington, like, this hotel in D.C. So, she's like, no, I need you to have a more consistent schedule, like, for you to have the same days off. But obviously, as a manager, it's hard to do that shit. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be, like, there, especially at a restaurant. Like, oh my goodness. So yeah, they're kind of bickering there at the doctor's office about Chris's schedule. At one point, they're literally, because Candiace is like, oh, I'd appreciate if you had, like, this, consistent days off. And Chris says, well, I consistently have 2 days off a week. And Candiace says, oh, no, you don't. Chris is like, yes, I do. And then back and forth, like, no, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Just, like, in the doctor's office. She's, like, sitting there like, girl, are you serious? Like, it's just, oh, my goodness. Just so immature on both their ends. It's like, oh, my gosh. And so yeah, they wrap up the appointment and they literally continue the argument in the car. Like there wasn't really much to say at this point. It was just like they're just arguing about Chris's schedule. It was just like, okay, guys, like, ooh. We check in with Robyn again, and she's meeting up with Charrisse. They're gonna have some drinks, like a little appetizer and whatnot. She says that Charrisse is the true Grand Dame of Potomac because she's basically the one who brought the group together. She says, well, Robyn's known Charrisse for fucking 20 years. And Charrisse introduced Robyn to Gizelle, and she kind of connected a lot of the group members. So yeah, and on Watch Robyn's Live, Ashley, she got asked about, like, who do you think is the true Grand Dame? Do you agree with Robyn that it's Charrisse, or do you think it's Karen? And Ashley, her response was like, I think that Charrisse is the true Grand Dame, but Karen's the one who plays the role well. She's the one who, like, plays the role better, so she kind of gave them both a shout out, if you will. I was like, okay, good answer, Ashley. Go ahead, play Switzerland. We also get a recap of the whole fucking when are you and Juan getting married shit. The same thing we've had, like, for seasons upon seasons upon seasons. And yeah, Robyn says there's no date or plans. The producer asks if they even want to get married anymore. She's like, it's just not a priority right now. I was like, okay, girl, like, they're just gonna wind up getting married like a fucking courthouse or like in Vegas real quick or something. It's gonna be like a non-function. I mark my words, like I can see it. They're just gonna fucking do it one day. Like, it's gonna be so random. Robyn tells Charrisse that she's considering getting a prenup with Juan if they were to get remarried. And Charrisse is like, well, did you sign one the first time? She's like, yeah, I did. So it's like, okay, well, if you signed one when he was the breadwinner, then why shouldn't he sign one when you're the breadwinner? Then Robyn brings up, because, well, he might feel some type of way about it. You never know. But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, this is fucking funny. So Robyn goes on to say that she doesn't believe that the breadwinner should give, like, half of their shit to the other person if they divorce. She's like, I don't think it should be, like, 50-50 like that. And she says because the other person didn't earn it. And she's saying this to fucking Charrisse, who's, like, dependent on her husband, like, who's separated from her husband for years and basically depends on his money for everything. And Charrisse is like, the fuck? It's like, Robyn, like, read the room. But yeah, it's just funny. And this is a friendly little difference of opinion. They're both just doing what's best for them, so they both acknowledge that. It was just a little funny moment. Robyn then she gives Charrisse some of the tea about Ashley's divorce and talks about how, like, oh, even though she's getting divorced, she and Michael still buying a house together, yada, yada, yada. But Charrisse thinks that's all for attention. So it's like, oh my gosh, all these bitches are accusing everyone else of doing everything for attention. It's like, oh my goodness. But yeah, so we'll see. Charrisse, evidently, she starts stirring some shit this season. She's come back as a force, so I'm excited to see what she concocts. We now see a Mia home scene. She's probably gonna have her mom and her siblings over. She has 2 brothers and a sister. And, like, all her nieces and nephews, she's, all kinds of family fucking pour in, full house, to be honest. We also found out that she's moved from Baltimore to Potomac, so we check out some of her house. We don't see, like, too much of it. We still see kind of quick glances and everything. Looks pretty. She is renting it, though. She wants to kind of settle in, see what's up, And she notes that it's 3 miles away from Karen's home. So, yeah, she's in Potomac now. That was interesting because it's like Real Housewives of Potomac, but, like, it's really, like, Maryland, because Wendy evidently lives out, like, in the fucking sticks. I don't even know, like, up almost by fucking Pennsylvania, like, up there. Mia lives in Baltimore, like, right in the harbor. Ashley lives in Virginia. I believe Gizelle lives in Bethesda, which is, like, next to Potomac. So they're like, all over, you know what I mean? So I think it's, anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. But yeah, so Mia's family pour in. Mia's talking to her mom about some of her health stuff, and she talks in the confessional. She tells us that some lumps appeared in her body, and they're testing to see what's up, and they want to ensure that it doesn't spread with whatever it is. So, yeah, she lets us know that. And then Karen and Ray pop in, because of course they're right down the fucking street, so they pop in. And Karen says that she had a little breast lift, so she's sure to tell us that it's all natural. They found some fat deposits she had to lift it. It's all her. She's sure to note that. It's like, okay, Karen, do you. Karen and Mia then go into, like, a little foyer area, talk about her health-related posts. Mia says that she's just being transparent, and Karen told her to basically be careful with that shit. Just, like, the friend group's going to be talking about it. You're just letting people know on all these intimate details that when you're just kind of trying to figure everything out. But Mia's like, I don't care what they have to say. It's like, it's my platform. It's my life. I'm going to be transparent about it. So we now see Wendy link up with Peter fucking Thomas. We finally see him on this show. The blogs were saying there's speculation that he was seeing Gizelle, or like talking to Gizelle at one point. We saw him on at the She by Trade fashion show in Atlanta, and Kenny said he was high as a kite. So we see Peter again. I believe they're at Bar 1 in Baltimore for a little meeting. And yeah, they're looking to collab and open a Nigerian lounge in Baltimore. And Wendy sure let us know that they're at some function, and she was talking to someone about her plan to, like, her aspiration to do a Nigerian lounge. Peter heard and offered to become involved. So she's like, I did not approach him to invest. He approached me to get involved. She's like, let that be known in history books. Like, okay, Wendy. So it's like, oh, Peter was trying to get on the fucking show again. He's trying to get his name out there. And she was like, okay, Peter, fucking do your thing. Oh, and side note, Wendy's really big about, like, taking on new pursuits and shit. Remember, in the first season we saw her, she was a professor, and she was also a political commentator already. But she's thinking about, like, transitioning out of academia into doing political commentating as a full-time thing. So we saw that in her first season. In the second season, we saw her in her Candleline on Yi. And now in the third season, we're seeing her with the Nigerian lounge. It's like, okay, Wendy, like, she's out here fucking doing her thing. So, good for her. Anyway, she and Peter are discussing more business shit. She'd be like a 20% owner, talking about like investment, just business shit, you know what I mean? Wendy says that Eddie is not super on board with the idea, because Wendy's still doing a lot of shit. She's a professor still, and she has 3 kids. She does speaking engagements. She has political commentating every now and then. She has a book coming out. She has the candle line. She has a lot of shit going on. And he's like, girl, you're going into this fucking business? Like, oh my goodness. So she says that he's not as on board as, so she has to kind of find other investors, if you will. We then see Ashley. She's bringing her sons to go see some family. She says that while the divorce sucks, she's kind of glad she doesn't have to choose between Michael and her family anymore, because remember, they didn't really get along for a bit. So she's going over to see her mom, Sheila, who, by the way, has a brand new fucking wig. It's like, okay, Sheila, like, doing her fucking thing. It reminded me of this tweet. I had to go back and dig it up. Okay, it was my favorites. It was like, when she found out, when Ashley texted her that she's getting a divorce, it was like, okay, Sheila's feeling herself. She has a new wig and everything. So it's good for her. So she's seeing she's seeing Sheila. Uncle Lump's wife, her cousin, all those people. And yeah, they're just hanging out, talking and shit. The subject of financials comes up, and Ashley says she basically has no idea how much money she would need to, like, live comfortably. Because she's like, I'm not responsible for that shit. I don't like, that's all Michael, basically. But yeah, and she was on a prenup, and she wasn't entitled to alimony, but that prenup has expired because it was only active for the first 5 years of marriage, and they're going on 8 years of marriage. So she's like, that's totally out the window now. So yeah, she's entitled to some fucking money, so she's gonna be getting it, but she has no idea, like, how much she needs. But she should have a pretty penny in the bank from her housewife check. She's been on, this is her 7th season now. Does she have other pursuits? Has Ashley done anything? She released that fucking, that terrible song. That fucking Coffee and Love. How'd that fucking go? How'd that song go? I don't even remember. I don't even care. But yeah, I don't know. Ashley, take a note from fucking Wendy. Wendy's been on for 3 seasons. She's on her shit. Ashley, what do you got going on? I don't know. Does she have anything? Let me know in the comments. Does Ashley have anything going on? She had that restaurant for a bit, but it fucking closed. She'd be really, because she's really into spirituality and, like, meditation. She'd do, like, yoga mats or something. Like, little yoga mats or, like, jump ropes, maybe. Like active stuff. I don't know. She'll figure it out. Ashley then tells her family that she and Michael are getting a house and putting it in the LLC's name that they both own. Uncle Lumpship asks, like, what kind of life are you living? Are you getting a divorce and buying a house? Or are you starting a new business together. Like, why are you putting it in an LLC? Why can't you get something in your own name? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Ashley gets kind of annoyed. Uncle Lump also brings up, he's like, you don't even have a lawyer yet. Like, you need a lawyer. Like, what are you doing? So he's getting on Ashley, and Ashley mentions that, like, Uncle Lump is, like, the father figure that she's, the only father figure she's really had in her life. So yeah, he's just giving her he's like giving her that advice. It's like, okay, Uncle Lump, do your thing. We see Gizelle for a quick moment. We see the new and improved Hotel Gizelle. The entryway is finished, the one that was being worked on during her reasonably shady party. And yeah, she's still doing a little bit of work on it. Oh no, is she still doing work on it? I think she's doing like a little bit of shit like in the back. Like she thinks like the back porch area, like the back patio. But there's like a circular driveway, the entryway's done. It's come a long fucking way. Gizelle also shares that she's struggling with her kids getting older. Because remember, she has her oldest daughter, Grace, who's like 17 at this time. And then she has two twins who are just about a year younger. Like they're 15, just about to turn 16, Gizelle says. And so she's going to swiftly become an empty nester. You know what I mean? Like, super fucking quick. It's like, damn. So Gizelle's struggling with that a bit. It's coming up really quickly. And she's also trying to get a spring chic outfit together for Karen's event. We also check in at said event, which is called the Spring Fling Kickoff Celebration of Life Taco Party event. And it was so funny. Someone on Twitter fucking compared it to the iconic Nene Leakes' Girls and Gays Never Forget All White Party Seafood Soiree. Like, I just love the fucking long. Oh my god. Especially the fucking Never Forget. God. Anyway, so yeah, that's the event. Ladies start pouring in, and we see a new friend of Jacqueline, who's associated with Mia. And Mia actually refers to her as like her best friend right now, but I believe they had a falling out. They saw some stuff on Twitter. I didn't double check, but something like they had like a falling out or some shit. But so yeah, but at this point in time, she's associated with Mia. She's her friend, and Karen knows her as well. But yeah, so Jacqueline, we'll see more of her in a bit. While at the party, Gizelle and Karen proceed to talk about Ashley for a little bit. They both say that they doubt that Ashley really wants to get a divorce. Karen says that Ashley learned how to play the game and is basically doing this to get out of Concrete City and into a house. Concrete City is a reference to the apartment building that they own. Not the apartment building. The apartment or like condo that they own in Alexandria. Because yeah, it's just like it's very like much like in like a downtown kind of place. And she's like, Ashley's trying to get into the suburbs. You know what I mean? So good on her. Right on cue, Ashley arrives. She tells the ladies that she's already found a house and put an offer through the LLC with Michael. It's in Virginia. I think it's in Arlington. Gizelle and Karen, they go in on her a little bit. They're like, girl, if you're getting divorced, why the fuck are you doing this? Like, you can do it on your own. Like, you know what I mean? You might be able to purchase a property as nice as the one you could get with Michael's help, but you can do one on your own. You know what I mean? You can have it in your own name. It could be yours. Ashley then says, you know, well, me and Michael, we're separated. We're not divorcing. And Gizelle and Karen are like, what the fuck? Because earlier at the little picnic meetup under the cherry blossoms, Ashley was like, yes, we're divorcing. That's true. And on Watch Happens Live, Ashley explains, she's like, no, like, well, first of all, in Virginia, they have to be separated for a whole year before they're granted a divorce. So she's like, they technically aren't getting a divorce yet. They're getting separated, but it's a separation, obviously, with the intention of getting a divorce, as they assumed. But Ashley's kind of implying, like, no, we're just separated. We're seeing what's up. You know, who knows? And on Watch Happens Live, she was confronted about this, and she said, oh, well, you know, I was really back and forth with it at the time. I was really up and down. One day I want to split up. Next day I want to work it out. So that's why she's kind of like, no, we're not divorcing. We're just splitting up. Like, try to keep it open, essentially. But yeah, and then Gizelle keeps going. She says that it doesn't make any fucking sense. And Ashley admits that she's been having second thoughts, and she reveals that she's had a coochie craving for Michael recently. And I was like, I never need to hear that. But she's like, no, we didn't do anything. And Karen says, girl, I just need to buy a fucking dildo. Like, figure it out, bitch. Don't do it. Candiace then arrives. And she's very excited to hear that Ashley is splitting up from Michael. She says that she'll throw a divorce party if Ashley's serious about leaving Michael. She says she's elated to, again, a Michael-less Ashley. She's like, I cannot wait for her to leave that crusty-ass old man. It's like, oh, shit. Side note, a lot of people are really excited at, Candiace Ashley tag team. Because they have a lot in common. They're both, former beauty queens. They're, I think it's pretty much the only thing they have in common. But, you know what I mean? It's they've always been, adversaries, but now they kind of finding better ground because Ashley's leaving Michael. So, hopefully, we'll see. We saw a little clips of them kind of hanging out in, the trailer, I believe. So, I'm excited to see that. What do you think? Are you excited to see Candiace and Ashley be on better terms? Would you like to see them feuding again? I'm just over it. I'm excited to see them on better terms. I mean, now, I don't think it'll last necessarily, but I'm excited to kind of see it for a little bit. Then they go back to fighting like usual if they want to, if they have to, but I'm excited to see it, you know what I mean? Escala and Wendy then arrive. Wendy goes on to be friendly with Gizelle. She goes to try to hug her and say hi and everything, but Giselle's not fucking having it. She's like, nope, don't hug me, being really icy and cold. She tells Wendy not to touch her or anything, and yeah, Giselle said Wendy's being fake because Wendy spent all last year going in on her and her family, talking shit about Jamal and all this shit. But remember, last year, Gizelle was also bringing up tabloid rumors about Eddie allegedly, having affairs and shit. So, yeah, they're both kind of going after each other's families, at least in each other's views. But yeah, Giselle's just not having it. She's kind of being, Wendy's kind of displayed similar behavior to Mia last season. It kind of reminded me of that. When Wendy was like, don't touch me. Don't talk to me. It's kind of giving me that. So I was like, okay, Wendy's getting a taste of that. But yeah, Wendy's kind of unfazed. She's like, okay, Gizelle, if you can't be mature about it, then whatever. You know what I mean? Basically, it's a new season, bitch. What's your problem? Yeah, but Giselle's not having Wendy right now. It's like, okay. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that is by the reunion. Mia then arrives, and Giselle's immediately fucking shady to her. When she arrives, she's like, oh, is this what no cancer looks like? And it's like, what the fuck? It was, Karen was shocked to hear that, because Karen was, right there. Gizelle then says that Mia's post made it look like she needs attention. There's some conversation in between, but that's basically the big jumps. I mean, Giselle's immediately shady, and she goes in on it, and she says that Mia made this post for attention. Mia says, well, I don't need attention. That's not accurate. And then Gizelle responds and being like, well, why'd you do it then? Well, why then? Well, if you don't need attention, then why? And it's like, Gizelle, oh, you messy, messy girl. Oh my goodness. Robyn arrives mid-conversation. Gizelle then reiterates that as Mia's friend, she's just letting her know that, it looked attention grabbery. I'm just letting you know as your friend, just letting you know. Mia responds by saying that she used her platform because she was really hurting. And so a doctor called her and informed her that it was possible she could have lymphoma or something. And she's like, that's why I was doing it. I was sharing my story and just being transparent because I was really hurting at the time. And she goes on to say, and Giselle, for you to say I was doing that for attention, fuck you. And just like, oh, whoa. And yeah, that's a to be continued. But yeah, Gizelle did not handle that. It was like, oh, girl. You did not have to fucking come at her like that. Because yeah, Gizelle was just immediately just oh, is this what? It was just so unnecessary on Giselle's part. I was like, girl, what? So yeah, I'm not mad at Mia. But yeah, so to be continued kind of thing. And yeah, as I already mentioned a couple times, Ashley, she appeared on Watch Happens Live with Dr. Heavenly. And noteworthy things, Ashley says, she's asked about which Bravo celebrity was the rudest to her. Who did she have the rudest interaction with, essentially. And she says Vicky Gunvalson was rather dismissive of her. And I was like, ooh, shit! So I was pleased to hear that. I'm not the biggest Vicky fan. And she also shared that she and Michael are 6 months into their separation, though they're still cohabitating. And interestingly, I found this out because Andy asked, well, are you guys, having sex at all? And Ashley says no, because if you have sex, remember, they have to be separated for a whole year before they can get divorced. And she says, but if you're intimate with your partner, with your soon-to-be ex, if you're, have sex with them, it restarts separation. So she's like 6 months in. She's like, nope, not doing it. So yeah, we'll see if she ends up getting divorced at the end of the 6 months. But yeah, so that's it for this episode of Real Housewives of Potomac. Yeah, so we'll see where the season goes. Again, some noteworthy things. We'll see Candiace and Ashley on better terms. Candiace and Gizelle end up getting into it later on. I wasn't expecting Gizelle to be this angry with Wendy, like, coming to episode 1. Like, I wasn't really expecting that. I'm sure it doesn't last, so we don't really see any interactions between them later on. I don't think Wendy and Mia have beef. Did I see them interact? I don't know if we saw Wendy and Mia interact. They might still kind of have some weird feelings, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But new season, fresh start. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments. And be sure to also like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to come back for more. Bye.